hungry one afternoon, went to the grocery store. I'm like, what do I get? What do I get? I wind up with like looking at a cookie. I flip it over and it's like 500 calories. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not eating this. Like 500 calories for nothing. So I went and bought some fruit instead. That wouldn't have happened prior to this. It would have been like, all right, where's the Hershey's bar or whatever? Let's get that. Let's get this.
Hi, I'm Mark Perry, founder of BuiltLean. I just did a podcast with Keith Rogers, who's a father of 4 from Texas, chaplain in the U.S. Air Force Reserve, and financial advisor. And he had an amazing transformation. Not only did he lose over 20 pounds, but his entire perspective on health and fitness has changed. It's also transformed his family's life as well. I'm excited for you to hear some of the words of wisdom that he's learned. And here it is. Keith, thank you so much for joining, my friend.
Glad to be here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. And so the first question is, a little bit more about your background. I think, we've had many conversations, of course, in the past. And so, maybe it was high school, you're in great shape. And then all of a sudden life starts happening, right? You don't have the same accountability. And so I'd like to hear a little bit more about your background and kind of what led you to the point where you're like, all right, I probably got to change.
I think it all really probably started as a kid even. I love my parents. They're well-meaning and loving, but definitely didn't have a strong foundation. And hey, maybe you shouldn't have quite as much sugar, quite as much, junk food along the way. If there was it was like, it seemed like every time something happened in your life, if there's a celebration, there was food. If there was something sad, there was food. If you were bored, there's food. And never like the healthy kinds of food. If it's a salad, it's covered in lots of like sugary dressings. And I can remember like being picked up as a kid from school. My dad would take us to a gas station and we'd get a 20-ounce bottle of soda and a candy bar. And that was an after school snack. And so that was elementary, right? And so these tastes, these desires for, foods that are probably not the best, or definitely are not the best, was kind of put in at a young age. But then, got into high school, and like most people who participated in organized athletics, played a lot of sports, and it didn't really catch up with you. You could maintain a reasonable weight, but still was definitely heavier than I wanted to be. I can remember when I joined the Air Force, I had to lose, I don't know, a lot of weight to do that. And just went on kind of a no-calorie diet for a while until I could get down to the weight I needed, ran a bunch, but that wasn't sustainable. It was pretty miserable, actually. But it worked. I got down to the weight I needed to be at. Then you fast forward maybe 10 years into it, having gotten married and having a couple kids, or 3 kids at the time, and just looking at myself after starting a career as a financial planner, just going, what on earth? It's the genes you have in your 20s, or the physical expression of your body, muscle and things, definitely weren't there anymore. And I remember my wife and I had gone to Cabo vacationing, and had to climb this hill to go up this ropes course thing, and just about feeling like I was dying going up it, and just thinking, what is going on here, Keith? You were a good, football player in high school, and, you've been in the military, you've been in shape before. And I just looked in the mirror, I was like, oh, this is not good. So that was kind of the start of realizing, oh my gosh, this is just unacceptable kind of position to find myself in. And so when I was in Romania, actually, when we met, because I was on Facebook, I think. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I just clicked the ad, did the discovery call with you, and kind of had a lot of epiphanies about my behaviors and ways I thought. And of course, I don't really think this stuff happens overnight. I mean, it probably does for some folks, but it certainly didn't for me. It was a gradual process of change. So that's
right.
a lot.
No, but wait, that's all great stuff, right? So I think you hit on something really important, which I don't think it's talked about a lot, which is like the belief systems and the habits you built. They didn't happen like so some guys, yeah, they have the life happens and I got married. But for a lot of people, it's like you learned your habits when you're growing up as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's like, I mean, that's in other words, like a cultural thing. And so a lot of guys we work with had that situation. So, what were some of the beliefs that you had when you were a kid and that you had to change?
it was like every holiday, every celebration, and if you just look at our society, it's there, right? There's always an excuse to have junk food or to comfort yourself with food, or if you're bored, to eat. I mean, it's really, really simple. If you're hungry, eat something. It doesn't matter what, and you'll feel better. You'll have that moment of that dopamine hit, so to speak. I, I think some of the two striking behaviors I think that have changed a lot for me, and this is, I'm almost embarrassed to say because I really never even dawned on me that this was not a good idea, and I just feel like a dummy. But I live maybe 12 minutes from my office, so driving home back not a problem. We're really really pretty close. But if I would get off work at say like 6 or something, wrap up an appointment, I'm pretty hungry at that point. I'm going, okay, well, I'm really hungry. I'll go to McDonald's, get like a hamburger or something. Then I'll go home, and then my wife would cook dinner, and so I need to eat the dinner too. So that really wasn't helping things, right? And not great meals, not great things. Like, dummy, you're 12 minutes from your house. Why don't you just like drive past McDonald's? Or don't buy that candy bar at the grocery store if you're picking up things on the way home. Don't keep candy in your office. Like, I don't know, Mark, if they were necessarily conscious beliefs as much as just the willingness to appease myself. Anytime I felt like I wanted something, it was like, well, it's there. I'll go get it. Why not? What's the problem? I can tell you the problem now, but I didn't. I don't. Gosh, I just didn't realize nearly as much until I looked in the mirror one day. I was like, something's not right. But I had no idea what to do about it. That was the worst.
So we'll talk more about that. And so, I remember very clearly, we had our call, 2019. It was a long call, and we dove into a lot of kind of fears and concerns you had. And so you ended up signing up. And so when you started, you're in this place. Talk a little bit more about the pain you were in, like the challenges that you were experiencing. Because I remember one of them was you were terrified every time you had to to have the Air Force
Oh
stuff.
my gosh.
It was like a nightmare over and over again. So yeah, tell me
Okay,
more about
let's
the
talk
pain.
about that for a
Yeah.
moment. So, at the time, the Air Force had 10-year windows for your metrics that you'd be graded on for your physical exam, your physical fitness test, not your doctor's exam, but the time where you run around the track, you do your push-ups, your crunches, and they measure your abdominal circumference. And you want to talk about anxiety? Oh my gosh, I would find myself. I can vividly remember, I only failed the test one time, but I was always like teetering on the edge, and I would have to really work to get my run time down. The push-ups I could always do; that wasn't a problem, and the crunches, but the abdominal circumference, you'd be like, think skinny thoughts, whatever it was, because they were going to tape you right around your waist, and if they pulled tight, great, you make it. If you don't, you didn't. And just the amount of stress, it was just a cycle. There was one test that I was so nervous about, just so geared up for. Between the push-ups and the sit-up portion, you tend to get like a 10-minute break or whatever. I remember just literally going to the bathroom and having to vomit because I was so nervous. And just the anxiety about it, hating it, feeling the frustration with it, being afraid of, what if I don't pass? What does this do for my career? What does this do for my family? It was horrible. It really was. And I can remember after COVID taking the first test, I was down to about where I am now. I'm in the low 180s right now. And thinking to myself, really not worried about this. I mean, I'd done some running to prepare, but nothing like I would have in the past. I knew how many push-ups I was going to do. I knew how many crunches I had to do, and I knew I could do them. I just remember thinking to myself, not worried. This is so strange. Why am I not freaking out? But I knew where I was. I was going, I'm like 180 pounds. I can run this mile and a half in, 13 minutes, 12 and a half minutes, whatever I need to do. It was great.
Nice, man. No, I was gonna say, because I mean, the change is dramatic, right? Like, I mean, 205. I mean, it was a dramatic change, right? The waist size and everything. And so, so talk a little bit more about, I guess number one, your results, right? I think obviously people like hearing about the results, not just like the metric wise, but also like the change in how you feel. And so this was in 2019. You really started making
Yeah.
progress. And the cool thing is you kept it off for years. And I think that's the
Yeah.
difference, right? It's not like a lose 30 pounds in 30 days situation. This has been like a gradual process where you've made a transformation. So talk a little bit about the results that you've had and that sort of thing.
Sure. So I think that the results should really be measured in activities and beliefs, not just weight loss or whatever, but okay. So some of the things that I would say have been a big shift, and one of the things that I really love about the Built Lean program are the workouts. And it's 30 minutes, man. And really, you're not even doing exercise for the full 30 minutes, right? So it's a measurable thing that if you can't carve out 30 minutes 3 times a week, I mean, come on, what are you doing? That has been a huge shift because I wasn't training with weights. I might do some push-ups and sit-ups, or I might run a little bit, but it wasn't that. That was a huge shift in behavior for me, was getting that as a regular part of my lifestyle. And I still do them. I did one last night. I mean, I think it was the crow, which I really like,
Nice.
by the way. It's really fun. And that was a big deal because, in the past, if you wanted to work out, everybody's got a workout plan to sell you. The whole world does. And whether they work or not, I don't know. I'm sure some do, but they're not as structured. They're not as condensed. The great thing about, I told you I wasn't that worried about doing my fit test for the run. Well, I hadn't really ran that much, but I'd always run maybe a month or two ahead just to see where I was. I was able to pass the test without having to ramp up my running because of the strength circuits, the way that they develop your body through the cardio and the weightlifting at the same time. So that, being able to have something that I know I can get done in and out 30 minutes, start to finish, and it's doable. I can push it when I feel great. I can back off if I need to. That's a huge game changer. Plus, just the body weight workouts. If you don't have a gym or a weight set nearby, there's really no reason not to, and you feel great when you do it. I don't know. That's one big change. I'm sorry, Mark. What was the rest of your question?
Yeah, no. And so, I think that's actually a good segue to actually, so we talked about the workouts. Talk to me about the eating. Like, I mean, how has your eating changed? I mean, I know because I've seen the different changes, but talk to me about how your eating's changed.
I don't really remember at this point exactly how I was eating before, other than I was eating for pleasure, for boredom, for whatever. Uh, Now somebody asked me, I think my wife asked me, she's like, well, how long are you gonna do this Built Lean diet thing? I looked at her, I said, baby, I don't really think it's a diet. I think it's more of a lifestyle. Forever, like not gonna stop. So what are the changes, right? Viewing food through the lens of how nutrient dense it is. That's a big change. Not how well does it taste, not, all these other things, but if I'm going to pick an entree somewhere, what's the nutrients for the calories within it? If it's chicken, is it fried or is it not? How's it prepared? Whole foods being the majority of the diet. Having a mindset of eating the same thing on a regular basis. Now, I like a lot of variety in my diet, and I tend to, but I'm able to, especially like the recipes on the Built Lean website. There's a lot, even if you don't sign on and go through the program or whatever else, there's a lot of wonderful content right there. It's just free, available to anybody who wants it. And you can go through that and say, okay, look, here's tuna salad. Here's how to do this. Here's how to do that. Here's the smoothies. The smoothies have been a game changer for not just me, but my wife too. I would say we're probably 4 to 5 smoothies a week at our house. We keep the protein store popping. And just looking at what am I eating? Is it healthy? Like, I can't remember the last time I had a candy bar. And as long as I don't like candy bars, it's just that when I look at it, I go, okay, what am I getting? What is it? How is it feeding my body? The truth is, what's nutritious about it? Not much. I mean, it's calories, but there's not a lot of vitamins, not a lot of minerals, not a lot of things that are helping you have strong bones, build muscle. Not having slow releasing carbohydrates, because you can tell when your blood sugar spikes and you feel like crap later. Just viewing food through the lens of, is it going to be good for me? Is it healthy? And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. I still have birthday cake with my kids. We still, on occasion we'll have ice cream. We'll have dessert in our household, but it's not throwaway trash junk food that's just off the shelf at the grocery store, that's in your mouth for a second and gone the next, and then whatever. It's very much more thoughtful in how we're doing it. And then the meals beyond that, thinking through the ease at which you can navigate the eating on the BuiltLean plan and the BuiltLean program. That is a game changer, I think, probably for most men. I know it was for me. Breakfast was very simple. I'd eat 3 eggs on a tortilla with some hot sauce, maybe a little cheese. Like I said, smoothies for lunch. Dinner was typically a salad with some kind of lean protein. That's it. It didn't have to be any more complex than that. I go out to eat. My go-to dish when I go out to eat is I order 2 wedges and a bowl of chicken soup. I mean, sometimes we'll eat something different, but if it's not a salad with a lean protein, there, I don't know what it is. That's what I eat. Yeah, that's Texas is big on barbecue where I'm at. There's everywhere you go, there's brisket and there's pork and there's chicken. Navigating those things. Okay, well, maybe you eat the protein, but you don't eat all the sides with it. Just trying to be smart about it. I don't think I knew how to eat healthy before this. I don't know. It's not something you were taught in school, or at least I wasn't.
Right. No, I hear you. I hear you. I certainly, I wasn't taught it, right? Like it's not, you're not really taught it. I mean, obviously I do it for a living now, but I wasn't taught it because you just don't know, because you eat whatever you want, especially when you're an athlete. It's like the whole point, you're just shoving as much food as you can into your pie hole. That's the strategy. And it's like, you don't care where it's like what it is or whatever. It's just like, okay, I'm just eating as much food as I can. So I hear you. A lot of guys were in that situation at some point, but as you know, like things can kind of catch up with you. And so, I mean, one thing that's also remarkable is, a lot of guys create excuses. They're like, listen, I've got kids, my wife, like, things are too hectic. I got my career. You know what? Like, I don't have time to take care of myself. And that was actually one of the mental blocks, right? It was like, hey, I don't want to steal time from my family to take care of myself and work out. So talk a little bit more about like what it's been like, making this change.
Oh my goodness. So I forgot about that, because now that feels like a very foreign concept to me, that taking the time to take care of my body would be stealing from my family. Okay, so
Your words, by the way, back in the day.
It totally was. And here's the thing, right? So most programs, or most, I don't know how many of my friends have gym memberships. Right? I don't have a gym membership. I've got the dial up weight things in the living room. That's it. Like I don't feel like I need a gym membership, because of the time it takes to go to the gym, exercise, shower, come home, be ready. I mean, you're going to be stealing from something: sleep, family, work, something in there. So it was really important to me that I did not take away from the family. So there for a long time, I would get up before everybody got up and do my exercises. So that was, I would go through it through 3 days a week, or whatever the schedule was. And I would just be up before anyone else. So that's shifted over time, because now our schedules are a little bit different and it's a little bit harder to get up before everyone else. So now I work out in the evenings, 3 days a week, solid. But that perspective, right? Is it stealing from my family? I would say no. I'd say it's investing in my health for the future. So I work as a financial planner, right? I have several clients. The bulk of my clients are baby boomers, and you can see the difference in the ones who are enjoying their time with their families and with their friends, who have been able to maintain some level of health throughout the course of their life into their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even 90s in some cases. And then the ones who for whatever reason, and maybe through no fault of their own, but they have metabolic disease, they have, they're overweight, they're not able to move, they're not able to do things. I mean, they may have wonderful, amounts of resources, but a lot of good it does them. You can't, if you don't have the ability to go out and spend time with your friends and your family and do the things you want to do, good luck. So that was a huge mindset shift for me, of saying, okay, look, I'm not stealing from my family. I'm investing in myself for the future. Now let's take it a little bit further, in that as a father, I mean, I I desperately want my children to have the gift of health and mobility. I don't want them to be cursed with addictions to sugar and having those same mindsets that I had growing up. And so they know who Mark Perry is, which is hilarious. They're going, are you working out, Daddy? Are you doing Mark Perry workouts? Yes, I'm doing Mark Perry workouts. They're on my iPad. It's me and you. I can sit there and do whatever we're doing. And then if I eat something, because we did the photo food journal for over a year, and it's not exactly something that would be nutritious or whatever. My 10-year-old, she's very fond. Saying, Daddy, would Mark Perry think that's a good thing to eat? I'm like, probably not. Probably not. And then we have to think about it, but it's enabled in my family a lot of conversations around health and nutrition and being good stewards of our bodies. What do we put in there? Moderation, of course. We're not trying to overdo it on the sugars, but we're not draconian either. It's not like it's nothing. And then when it comes to exercising, though, every one of them has done the Inception workout at least 5 times. Because if we travel, you get an Airbnb somewhere, exercise, and you know what? If they're up, they love to do it. My 3-year-old, soon to be 4, will do knee hugs to get started with me, and we do air squats, and we just seeing that example, I hope, ingrains in them a value of being a good steward of their body, being a good steward of their mobility and their nutrition. And so, no, I don't view it as stealing from my family anymore. I view it as investing in our relationship now, in our relationship into the future, and for being able to be around and be active in their children's lives one day. It's oldest daughter's 10, so we're maybe 2 decades away, somewhere in there, from possibly having grandchildren, if that's to be. It's not stealing, it's investing.
Nice. That's a major mindset shift. Yeah, because because my perspective, of course, like I've seen the whole thing, and it's like obviously you've experienced it yourself, and it's hard to almost imagine, be like, no way, I didn't believe that stuff. It's like it's right. It's hard.
It really is. Like, you think about how you were thinking beforehand and now how you're thinking, and it's like, okay. And then where do you get your joy in life? What are the things that fill you up emotionally? What are the things that cause you a bit of pain and disappointment? In the past, a cheeseburger from Mickey D's was, hey, that was good stuff. Now it's kind of like, I'd rather not. Is there a better option here? Can we do something else? It's not joy. I don't know. You're looking for a better option.
That's interesting. So what is, if it's not joy now, was it before? Was it kind of like a,
oh, of course. Yeah, it's stuff that tastes good. Yeah, why not salt, sugar, fat, like all the stuff your body craves, all packaged in one? Yeah, it's good. Now it's kind of like, I might get sick if I eat that. Like literally, like my stomach will turn because it's not used to all that stuff together at once.
By the way, that's exactly what happens. Like every once in a while, if I like eat any of that stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, now I remember why I don't eat that stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing. You train your body, you change it. Taste bud rehab is a big deal. I think that's on some of your other podcasts. If there's some food you don't particularly enjoy, I won't say that salad ever like comes at the top of my list of, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to eat this. But at the end of the day, coming and going, okay, look, I'm making an investment into my health, and this I can make this in a way that's not just get by, but kind of enjoy. I think most of that's come from a shift in taste buds over time. Right. Salad didn't change, I changed.
Right. That's powerful. That's very, very powerful. And so, I do know that your wife has obviously been very supportive, right? And a couple things, like a couple elements. Number one, like you've been committed, right? Like you were committed. You're like, I've got to make a change. I have to make a change. And so that's like, congratulations to you for having that determination, right? Because I mean, you kind of you kept with it, and you continued to make those changes. And now again, you're in such a different situation now than you were in 2019. But getting back to your wife was supportive, and she has been supportive. And so that's kind of one challenge guys have, is like getting their wife on board, getting their family on board. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so you may be eating differently than your family. That totally happens. There's times when we're eating at dinner. So one of the things that we will sometimes diverge on is we shop at Costco, right? You can buy every frozen protein you want in the world. Some of them are breaded, some of them are not. If I'm really trying to pay attention to it, you know what? There might be some breaded chicken on the table for other members of the family, and I might have something separate, completely separate. If we are making lunch for our children, we have what they have. We're not always feeding them smoothies, so that may mean that we're washing the blender out a couple of times, one for her, one for me. Just the realization that if you're going to do this, don't expect someone else to do it for you, and don't put it on them. They're going to resent it if you're like, hey, babe, I'm doing this thing. Here's the BuiltLean cookbook. Get with it. Yeah, right. Like, that's not going to happen for most of you. Maybe in somebody else's relationship, but that's not mine. I would just say that, you lead by example and through kindness and encouragement and love, and you think about it as in terms of an investment in the relationships. And if your significant other, your spouse is struggling through that, I would just say, you know what, you lead with encouragement, not resentment, compassion, understanding. And you say, hey, you know what, I'm here because I want to be better for us and for our family, healthier. And for anybody who goes through this program, please don't think that it's like become a bodybuilder thing. It's not. There's not a list of supplements at the end of the call that Mark's trying to sell you. There's not a whole bunch of gear that's like BuiltLean branded that's going to be forced upon you via an email. It really is just a solid program that teaches you a way of life. And I think when it comes back to your family, okay, if you're on the fence about doing it, you're going, okay, is my family going to be okay with this? And they're going to support it. If you commit to the plan and you stick with it, you follow the steps. I mean, I believe the energy that you would have, that you would gain, the ability to move, mobility is humongous in our life. It's huge. Will pay dividends in every area of your life, including your marriage and things. But yeah, quite an example. Loving, encouragement, compassionate. That would be my advice to anyone whose spouse is maybe not as supportive. And for those of you who have a supportive spouse, then great. Y'all can do workouts together. We do that. I mean, she's got a trainer she likes to follow. I'll do those workouts sometimes. And sometimes she'll do a BuiltLean workout with me. And then it's just, it's a weird date night. We're sweating in our living room together. It's great.
Nice, man. Nice. And so, can you mention a little bit about like what your friends, your family, maybe your colleagues have thought about your transformation? Because again, like 2019, my plan is I'm going to show the kind of before, hopefully before this kind of video. I mean, it's just been extraordinary. So what have your friends thought, family thought?
Yeah, they all are just, it's funny because people who didn't know me before then were like, wait, you were heavier? And they'll look on maybe like Facebook or something, and they'll see some pictures and be like, you're chunky. You're really chunky. I was like, yeah, I was. Like, I didn't even know it too. I thought I looked like Superman. Had no clue. And I looked in the mirror one day. But my friends who see me have known me, especially after COVID, because we weren't having as many, get-togethers. Like, wow, you look great. You're doing good. You're doing great. My family definitely has noticed the difference. So much. My brother went through the program and was able to see the benefits of following it. But yeah, it's like you're almost a bit of a different person in just how you approach life and particularly the way you're going to treat your body.
Right.
Overwhelmingly positive.
Right. No, absolutely. And so kind of touching on that point, you talked about lifestyle and how it's just not even just a lifestyle. It's ultimately about who you are. Can you talk a little bit more about that shift? And obviously you just touched upon it, where it's like, you aren't aware of your eating. You have all these beliefs and you're like, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. And then all of a sudden you see this whole new world, be like, hey man, you can be so energetic. You can actually be strong and fit as you age. And when you visualize when you visualize your life 10, 20 years from now, it's a really empowering vision. So talk a little bit more about like, this change in lifestyle and how much more energy you have.
Well, for one, I don't think in the past I ever believed it was possible.
Okay.
I just kind of thought, I'm like, oh, this is just my lot in life. This is how I am. This is how it's going to be. Right? I'm just going to be heavy. And you know what? I'll sweat it out. Plenty of guys have sweated it out over the years, and that'll be that. No problem. So that change of belief changed the lifestyle. I
Right.
mean, that, once I was able to see through, okay, how is this working? How this actually does work. Oh my goodness. We just remodeled our office. I got rid of my old, massive desk. I got a stand-up desk, right? So it's the little things that weren't going on before. We built a house a couple of years ago on a couple of acres. And so now it's the evenings we walk around the property. We're out there doing that. Was able to buy a rower, use that from time to time. I had texted a bunch of buddies this morning saying, hey, the weather's cooled off here in Texas. Anybody meet at the park, go for a walk. Instead of just hanging out, it's the lifestyle has become more about trying to integrate fitness, nutrition, and health into every area of my life, as opposed to it just being something you begrudgingly go to the gym for and get miserable on a treadmill for an hour, and then you're like, you know what, I did that. Let's go celebrate. Let's go, celebrate with some high calorie whatever. And so that's been huge. We don't keep little candies on the desk anymore in the office. I keep the 0 calorie winter mints. And you know what? Clients like that just fine. They don't care if they're not the little chocolate bars. Again, I have a supportive wife, so this has really helped me. But you cannot find white sugar in my house. It's not there. There's like coconut or palm or I don't know what it is, but it's just not there. And we're not baking cookies every other day. That's not a thing. I don't keep snacks in my office anymore. I'm not going to tell you that I don't snack, but like if I do snack, I'm going to be aiming for like a carrot or some kind of vegetable or some fruit or something. I think we talked about this once. I got really hungry one afternoon, went to the grocery store. I'm like, what do I get? What do I get? I wind up with like looking at a cookie. I flip it over and it's like 500 calories. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not eating this. Like 500 calories for nothing. So I went and bought some fruit instead. That wouldn't have happened prior to this. It would have been like, all right, where's the Hershey's bar or whatever? Let's get that. Let's get this. It's just it's a convergence of all these things. If I get stuck in the afternoon in the office, I'm tired. I'll go for a walk in the park, or I'll hop on a desk treadmill, walk on that for a while. Making it a priority to exercise even while we're on vacation. It's not just one thing. And that would be a message for anyone who's considering this. Is it's going to infect, if you let it, it will infect every area of your life in a very good way. But you got to let it, and you got to think through. You can't just say, well, I'm going to do the workouts and that's going to be that. It's going to be more. It's going to be more than that. It's going to be mindset. It's going to be what you eat. It's going to be how much you eat. It's going to be what else you're doing to move your body in a meaningful way so that you're healthy.
Nice, man. And so what would you say to someone on the fence to be like, man, I've been burned so many times. I've tried programs. I know you've tried programs in the past and they just didn't quite, work out. Like, what would you recommend someone who's like, man, I've tried so many different programs and nothing ever works. Like, what would you recommend?
So I've actually gone through and paid for the BuiltLean program twice. Yeah, I don't think I paid enough, quite honestly. I think it's worth more than what I paid. But so if you're on the fence, right, and you're like, can I do this? You can absolutely do it. Your results will be what they are. But to whatever degree you follow the guidance and the advice that Mark and his team give you, you're going to benefit. And it's not about, I mean, you may have a dramatic transformation in 12 weeks, and I hope you do. But let's say you don't. Let's say that you go, man, I kind of look the same. Maybe I'm a little lighter, but you know what? I don't know that my body's really changed or this and that. I promise you, if you're doing what they say, you are going to experience shifts in the way that you look, in the way that you feel, and more importantly, the way that you think and behave. I would say that's probably a better outcome than just getting to be all excited about ripping your shirt off at the beach. I mean, that's great. But honestly, when you get to like 60 or 70, do you really care? I care about being able to go on hikes with my grandkids. That's what I care about. I care about not needing to have a lift chair because I can't get up out of it. I care about, being able to drive myself and be places. And so if I ever get washboard abs, I'll be super excited. But if I don't, and I'm able to maintain a general level of health that's far above any of my peers and allows me to do the things I want to do, I find that as a big win. And so, you got to evaluate what is it that you want out of your life. And if you find yourself going, I'm clueless, I don't know what to do, or maybe I've tried some other things, um, I would say this thing's for real. Mark's not here to scam you, to take your money and run. The support is above and beyond actually what they advertise. They'll give you one thing, then it's an over delivery of things in terms of value. So yeah, don't sit back. Jump on it, get it going. You won't be sorry you did it.
Awesome. Keith, again, it's such a pleasure, man, as always. It's been an amazing experience for me to see such a dramatic transformation and see, again, like it's a transformation, not just of your body, of your health, of your health, of your family, and it's a sustainable shift, right? It's not a 30, and that's what's so cool about it. So again, I really, really appreciate, you being on here and sharing all this amazing information, man.
Very cool. Well, thanks for having me, Mark. I mean, if I ever make it out to your neck of the woods, we're gonna work out together. It's gonna be fun.
Awesome. All right, my friend. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Is that okay?